From Anshe Sfard Bethel Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Mikketz, environment. Let's try to understand the environment in which the sons of Jacob lived. First, let's look at Joseph. Did Joseph marry a Jewish wife? There he was in Egypt, and now he has a non-Jewish wife. How did he raise Jewish children? One theory says that indeed he married a Jewish girl. There was the daughter of Dinah. What happened to Dinah? She was raped. What happened to that child? Well, in those days, you'd send her away in disgrace, but with a note. And who found her? Potiphar. And who is this? Osnat. He's married Osnat, Bat Potiphera, the daughter of Potiphar. She's not actually the daughter. She's adopted as a daughter by Potiphar. Potiphar is a Sris. He can't have children. He adopts this daughter. It's actually the daughter of Dinah. Joseph's married to his niece. He's married to a Jewish woman. They have a Jewish home, a Jewish environment right there in Egypt. Another school of thought in the Midrash is that this woman is a convert. This woman is a convert. She's one of the righteous converts up there with Batya, with Sipporah, with Shifra and Pua and Ruth and Yael. This Osnat is a righteous convert. She takes care of Jacob in Egypt in his old age. She tells her father that he should not kill Joseph for his supposed crime. She's righteous. She's a convert. He did not have a Jewish environment, but he converted his wife and made her into the type of girl that could have an Ephraim and a Manasseh. What about Judah? Was Judah married to a Jewish woman? Well, Tamar, we don't know what nationality she was, but his first wife, it says that she was a daughter of a Canaanite. But there are two versions of the Midrash. Was she a Canaanite merchant? The word Canaanite being a synonym for merchant. Canaanites were in a location where they could be merchants. This was not actually a Canaanite. Or no, she was Canaanite. Two versions. Well, perhaps he sinned. But what about the other brothers? All the other brothers, who did they marry? There's no discussion of that in the text itself. So there are two versions in the Midrash, and Rashi brings both. One is that they all married their sisters, because it says that when Jacob was mourning for Joseph, all his daughters and sons stood up. What do you mean daughters? He doesn't have daughters. So either daughters-in-law are like daughters. So he calls the daughters-in-law who are not Jewish, calls them daughters. Or that there were daughters. The verse is telling us he had daughters. Who did they marry? They married their brothers. This is a primordial Torah idea. Before the Torah was made, there were no other women who were proper mates for these boys. Midrash has maybe they married their sisters before the Torah was given. So we have two versions. Now, if we say that all the brothers were married to Jews, then what about Joseph? Maybe he was married to a Jew as well. If we say that all the brothers were married to Canaanites, then the question is, why was that okay? Abraham said it wasn't okay for Yitzchak to marry a Canaanite. Rivka and subsequently Yitzchak say it's not okay for Jacob to marry a Canaanite. And all of a sudden, Rabbi Nehemiah says that all the tribes married Canaanites. What's going on? I'd like to suggest the following theory. What was Jewish? How do you become Jewish before the Torah was given? So you could accept the commandments. A boy could have a bris. A girl could go to the mikveh. There's something else as well. You had to recapitulate the Abrahamic experience. As it says, Boaz says to Ruth, you left your father and your mother and your nation. You came to a nation you didn't know. So who did that? Abraham did that. Sarah did that. They left their ancestral home. They left together. Yitzchak, in order to establish himself as an Israelite, he couldn't leave Israel. He had to remain in Israel. It was such a tenuous thing. Stay here. Be a real Israeli, a real Canaanite. Stay in Canaan. But his wife was brought to recapitulate the Abrahamic experience of leaving her family. Rivka comes from elsewhere. Now that it's been established, Chazaka, establishment that Abraham is Jewish, Isaac is Jewish, their wives. Now Jacob can take that risk of going to another country and still coming back. And now he recapitulates that experience of Abraham. He also comes back from another land. And his wives, similarly, come with him. They come with him from a foreign land. So they too have now converted to Judaism by that. But we bring them in from somewhere else. We bring Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, Zilpah. We bring them into the Jewish family. We disconnect them from their previous family so that their only influence will be the new Jewish family, which is a tiny nascent culture. There's nothing to bring them into. But now that there are 12 tribes, now there is a Jewish state of sorts. Jacob, he wanted to live in peace, as the Midrash says. He had a little fiefdom there for a moment. He was able to destroy the city of Shechem. He was becoming something. It was a little civilization. 12 tribes is an important thing. Esav had 12 tribes, and Ishmael had 12 tribes. It's an important thing. Now that a tribe has been established, there's something serious. Now you can marry a local girl and bring her into your civilization, your environment. Even if she's Canaanite, and bring her in to this new Jewish civilization. But two people who were in danger were Judah. He left the brothers, he left that civilization. Well, now you're not in the right environment. Should you be marrying a Canaanite? Did he marry a Canaanite? And Joseph, you're in Egypt. Can he be marrying a Canaanite? Can he be marrying an Egyptian? Does that work? Comes one school of Midrash and says, no, with Joseph, that's different. Joseph has to marry someone Jewish, a niece, because otherwise, how is he going to maintain the Jewish environment? What does it mean to be Jewish? Accept the mitzvos, or bris milah, into the covenant, purification of ideals and ideas that are just not proper through the mikvah. And also to leave the previous environment, to sort of denounce the previous association, disconnect the previous environment, because environment can be a huge influence. Once you have a civilization, such as today, the land of Israel, you bring someone into that civilization, they're more safe in that environment, safe from the previous influences. That's what it means to be Jewish in the book of Genesis. So we talked about the importance of environment, the importance as the time went on, the Jews were able to create their own environment. And when they had their own environment, bringing in people from the outside was less of a dangerous proposal. They didn't have to come from so far away, because they could now introduce them to their own environment that they had created in the land of Israel. Thanks for joining us here at the Anshe Sfar Bethel Emeth congregation here in Memphis, Tennessee. Join us each week for our discussion of the Parsha and the various holidays. Thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you and have a happy Hanukkah.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.